Okay, guys, so welcome to the Upbeat Hang. It is Friday, and you are talking with K-Bo and...
Amy.
And
Dysfunctional Duke.
Dysfunctional Duke. Duke, I love that. I think you would make a great rap star. Guys, how are you tonight? It is so nice to see you. I know all three of us would love to be playing. We're not, but we're doing about, I guess, as best as we could, right? Duke?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with my
Aim?
family.
Absolutely. Yep.
Duke, you were saying you're spending more time with your lovely family, right?
I am, but I'm spending a little time online with my podcast family, which is nice.
It is very nice. And by the way, folks, speaking for Amy and myself, we just want to tell you the fabulous videos you see. And if you had a chance to catch the recent video that was done on Joe Picaro, Amy, that is our Quan. That's Duke. Folks, Duke is...
Right there.
Let's give him a little bit of round of applause.
See that muscle?
Wait a minute. That reminds me of like the comic book when you got the kid, you rubbed his paw. No, I'm sorry. But anyways, we just want to give Duke a little shout out. He's been doing a great job for us. So how have you guys been?
Amy, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. You know, I've been very busy. I've my 3 children who I've been educating at home. But to me, that's actually the silver lining in this whole thing, because I get to spend a little more time with them and be what I feel I was meant to be, which is their first teacher.
So what you're saying is you get a second shot at algebra.
You got it right on. That's right. Not only that, but are you smarter than a 4th grader? I don't know if I am.
Duke takes the 5th. Duke takes the 5th. So do I.
Absolutely not.
Duke, let me ask you a question. Do you think if you and I went mano a mano with Amy's kids, could we do better in algebra than them?
No, but I could take them.
That's awesome. Amy, let me ask you a question. What do you find? I'm really curious because I remember when I was your daughter's ages, I should say. What are you finding is the hardest subject? It's got to be math, right?
Well, not for me. You know what? I'm a math and science girl, so I'm actually going with social studies.
Social studies?
Absolutely.
Why? What's so hard about that?
It's all memorization. There's no logic to it. It's just you have to know it by memory. So that's what it is.
Now, Duke, let me ask you, when you were Amy's kids' age, if that makes grammatical sense,
That's 9 and 7, right? 9 and 7 are the girls.
9 and 7. Okay, so what was your I could tell you, for me, hands down, was math. Duke, what about you?
I was a good student.
Oh, come on, don't kill the party, dude.
I don't know. Like when I was young, I was a good student. You know.
There's nothing you struggle with?
When I got older, yeah, but not as a young kid.
What was the hardest topic for you? The hardest subject, I should say.
You know what? This is the truth. It depended on what grade I was, because some of the teachers I could really connect with, and some of them I couldn't connect with. So I remember I had one teacher, and she was, in my estimation at that age, she was old and crotchety, and and she was all about English. And I was like, I wasn't into it. And yet, the next year, my teacher was like, you should be a writer. Your linguistic skills are off the charts. And, for me, it had to do with how I related to the teachers.
Okay. How about you, K-Bo?
That's cool. Well, you know what my problem was, Aim? I knew early on I had a mental block because what I did was a kid, besides being messed up, was I realized my problem was if I didn't see utility in it, I would not learn it. So math, okay. I took algebra all 4 years of high school. True story, folks. And the reason why is because I kept arguing with my teacher and saying, listen, what am I going to use this for? She goes, well, maybe you'll be a mathematician. I said, I'm not going to be a mathematician. I'm never going to use this. Why bother learning it? So that was my hang up.
Now, I thought that you were going to say that you took 4 years of algebra because you liked the teacher so much.
Well, I told you. I basically had, yes, her and I were very close. Let's say that much.
There was gossip. Let's say that much.
There was a little more in gossip, but we were very close. We were very, very close. But
I don't know this story. I need to hear this story.
We saw each other. I saw her more than my girlfriend.
Was this one? Is this something that didn't make the tabloids that should have or could have?
What website have you been to? Have you been to the site? No, I'm saying.
The Inquirer.
Oh, the Inquirer. You know what? That's because Duke helped me. Curious minds want to know. Am I right?
That's right.
That's right. That's right. So,
That's right.
so curious minds want to know what we're doing here, what we're talking about. And Duke, what are we kind of leading up to? Like, what do we got going on tonight for the folks? What are we going to talk about?
Oh, I'm so stoked. We have 3 awesome, awesome drummers joining to hang out together with us. And I'm so stoked. We have Todd Sucherman, vanromaine, Mark Schulman. Mark's played with Pink. He's played with Cher. He's played with Foreigner. He's played with a whole litany of people, as has Van. And as everybody knows, Todd is the powerhouse behind Styx. And we're just going to get together and get silly.
Now, Aim, I want to tell you something, and I'm not saying this to patronize. I saw Todd, they played with Basha. Do you know who Basha is?
I've heard of Basha, but no, I'm not
Okay.
very familiar, to be honest with you.
I saw them at an outdoor
She's like
arena.
she's like a smooth jazz singer.
Ooh, I like that.
I saw Styx right when Duke helped me for a second. I think it was 1995. His name was John, the former drummer. He had passed away.
Oh, John Pinozzo.
John Pinozzo passed away. And I remember seeing them, and I saw this guy back there playing with traditional grip, which is holding the stick like this as opposed to like this. And he was wearing this fabulous silk shirt, but the guy was phenomenal. So he was fabulous. He was really, back then I was like, who the heck is this guy? I've never seen Mark live. Mark is a fantastic drummer, very entertaining. And Van is just as we say, as Duke and I would say, in the pocket. All 3 of them, I couldn't say which one I like the best because I like all of them and all the artists. I mean, Amy, I know for a fact, I know you love Pink, right?
Ah, huge fan of Pink.
Huge fan of Pink. Mark
Yes.
Mark is her right hand man. He is right there for her. Enrique Iglesias. I mean, Duke and I have talked before about the vanromaine's resume just goes on and on and on. He's fabulous, and Todd just really speaks for himself. And right now, Todd is a hot commodity in terms of you see him on doing a lot of instructional videos. And Duke, you've checked out some of those, right?
Of course. What drummer hasn't?
What drummer has it? Now, let me ask you, going back to all 3 of them, if you were going to talk, Amy, just to digress for a second on drums alone, what are your observations or what do you feel about the 3 different guys as drummers solely?
You're asking me?
Well, your name is Duke, right? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you were asking Amy.
No, I'm
I
asking
got
you. I
confused.
said, Amy, we're going to digress into some drum stuff, but I know
Okay.
that Duke is a better connoisseur of drums than I am. I'm just a simpleton. But Duke, can you contrast the 3 different styles and what they bring to the table as drummers alone?
Well, it's personalities. They're all their own unique personality with their own unique voice on the instrument, and they're all amazing in their own way. Mark is an amazing entertainer. He is visually exciting to watch, as well as a great player. Van is very much a musician's drummer in that he can play with Nena or a pop star, Enrique, or he can play with Steve Morse band, and he's equally comfortable. He's played with Bernie Worrell, who is, was a funk master. May he rest in peace. Van will keep the pocket, and he'll play right through the most complex music, and he'll make it sound like it's not, because he keeps the backbeat throughout, and it's so beautiful. And Todd is I consider him such a precision drummer. The space between the notes is so incredibly consistent, and it's just beautiful. He's just a really great drummer, and they all have their own voice. They're all beautiful in their own way.
Now, Aim, and really thank you, Duke, for that. That was a very good analysis and breakdown. Now, Aim, we can talk about voice, and I guess with Todd, there's something to talk about there, right?
Absolutely. Oh, he's got a great voice. You know what? He underestimates his value vocally.
And I guess just to help the folks out there, you're referring to Todd's new solo album, right?
I sure am. Yep.
And forgetting the singer part, forgetting the drummer part rather. How would you? What were your thoughts? What can you tell us as a singer that he brought to the table, and what did you like?
Well, what surprises me so much about him is that this is his first album, his first solo album, because he really is a very talented vocalist, very, very talented. So I'm surprised that this is the first one. I'm glad that he got, the guts to do it, because he had hesitated, and he made another singer very proud. I'll tell you that now.
And Duke, it's interesting we talk about this because as drummers, we have known a la Phil Collins, some drummers that have come out from Dave Grohl, who have come up from behind the kit, and now all of a sudden they're inventing this whole new career where it's a very compelling dynamic. So, I mean, I'm excited to talk to the three of them. They all bring different things to the table. They're all different styles. They all have different functions. And again, we're talking to them in the midst, folks, of COVID, where we're going to catch them where they're home, right?
Yep.
We got lucky.
We got lucky. So they're home. So we're going to see them in a unique spot. So
that's right.
Listen, if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Duke, are you ready?
Let's hit it.
Okay. Aim, you all set?
I can't wait.
All right. So folks, if that's the case, Duke, why don't you lead us in then?
Here we go. Van Romaine, Mark Schulman, and Todd Sucherman.
Here comes trouble. Talk about glasses.
Hey,
Dude,
Van.
and he's got all his gold records and shit.
Wow, look at this.
So
Hi, Todd.
impressive. I just have my high quality camera. That's the best I can do.
Oh, yeah, I should wear my glasses. Let me see. Oh wow,
We need your lighter, Van. You got a light?
I got to upgrade to the Mark
Why
Schulman.
don't you just
system
hold
model.
up a little like a lighter,
Is it dark in here for real? Oh, I can change that.
Yeah, there you go. That's a little bit better.
Where were you on the night of March 13th?
Nice to meet you, Todd, and everybody else.
Yeah,
How you doing, Van?
how is it that we've made it this far without running into each other?
I don't know. I mean, I run into you a lot on, online. I'm one of your fans now, but
But not even any like NAMM show jagoffery,
that's
but-
true. That's true. I toured with. Start bragging about myself right away, but no, I did a tour with Kansas, and they were about to start to join Styx, and then I left. I did something else. Maybe I would have met you then. So
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure how long.
I didn't know there was a point that Phil was not playing with them.
Phil asked me to do it. He wanted to stay home and
Ah,
manage the band from home. Anyway,
oh, nice. So it was an anointed position.
I got the call from Phil, yeah, which was interesting. So,
Yeah, that's very cool.
anyway, this is
You-
cool.
Kansas
Oh, you're
toured.
recording all this, right?
Yes, we're rolling.
Okay.
Kansas toured with Styx for how long? One summer?
My very first Styx tour in '96, Kansas opened up the whole tour. So those guys have a special place in my heart.
That might have been it.
As does Phil, but we've done, we've met up and done shows or a run here, a run there throughout the years. We did Europe together in 2005, I want to say.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been a while.
You guys tour, after your show, do you guys like hang? Or do you kind of go your separate ways and that's it?
What was that? I'm sorry.
When you tour,
You're very quiet.
Yeah, a little
is that
bit.
better? How's that going?
Yes.
Can you all hear me?
I mean,
so
my
when you-
hearing's perfect. I don't know about you guys.
I know. That's the drummer's life. When you tour and you have a band that's opening and then you have the main band, do you hang after or do you kind of go your separate ways and that's it?
I think all of the above. I think we're all in the positions. It depends on what's happening. If you're doing multiple nights, or if you just get on the bus and you go to the next town. Gentlemen, what say you?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we hung a little bit. I remember we did it was Styx and Journey, and I was playing with Foreigner. And
That was
I think
2011.
what's that?
2011.
I think me and Dean Castronovo and Todd had one hang.
Gotcha.
But you guys only did, I think, maybe 2 or 3 shows in Europe, and then we ended up doing 6 months in the States with them with Night Ranger. And Kelly Kiki and I become really, really close friends as a result. I mean, Dean and I have known Dean forever. So we really didn't get a chance to hang much. I haven't really hung with you much either. I mean, I know you, I respect you, and I love I love the way you smell, but I just don't know you very well.
Now you have to expand on that a little bit, Mark. Come on, what does that mean?
He's got this musk. Every drummer's got the drummer musk, and it's very critical. That's
And
why
what-
when I haven't talked to my friends a lot, I say, I miss your musk. It's a little Anchorman. It's a little Anchorman reference.
Now,
Yeah.
Van, you're not getting away with that. What kind of must do you have?
I actually endorse Speed Stick. That's a good segue.
For me, it's still Brute by Fabergé, man. I'm living in the past.
Listen, you have me at the glasses. So, Mark, let me ask all three of you guys. Obviously, everyone's home. Obviously, no one's out on tour, and you guys have all toured a ton. What is one little annoying thing that used to bother you on tour, whether it's a callus or a bed that didn't fit in the bus, that now you sit down and say to yourself, I could really go for that bunk that didn't work for me.
Oh, things we're missing now that we wish we had?
Yes.
Hmm.
Something that was annoying, that used to annoy you, whatever it was. Could have been something small, trivial, that you think to yourself, like, probably as a musician, most musicians can think of at any level, that beat gig I used to play? I wish I had it tonight.
Oh.
Hmm.
For me, it
Yeah.
would be maybe just, more camaraderie. I mean, I'm blessed I think we're all drumming fathers, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not that, but yeah, I'm with my kids and so I'm not alone that much, but I mean, there are people that maybe might have annoyed me on the road before that I usually don't talk much about that, but yeah, I'd welcome it now.
Yeah.
If that's the kind of thing you're talking about.
Okay.
So
Well, my lobster bisque would be too cool.
We're having an extermination emergency because we have an exterminator here. This is what happens when you're at home.
so
Oh, the organ, man.
Todd,
Yes.
you have all this time. We all have this time. What are you getting to do that you've always wanted to do? Well, it's kind of an obvious answer, but what do you get to do now that you have time? Oops, pardon me. I muted you. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry about that.
It's a good bunch of people here.
That's great.
Am I back? The top story today.
That's like Saturday Night Live for the hard of hearing.
That's great.
Garrett Morris.
Garrett Morris.
Garrett Morris, that's right. Remember the name, right?
It's been pretty busy with my record and kind of doing the homeschooling thing, getting that settled in with my daughter. The goal now is, my studio here is a studio, and if you offered me $1 million right now to record one single snare drum hit, I couldn't do it. So I'm going to be, searching Pro Tools for Dummies, and I have to learn how to run this rig because that's going to be my goal of my big skill that will come from this, I hope.
You typically have like an engineer work with you when you do it?
I've always
Gotcha.
employed an engineer because I see how frustrated it can be when you have experts who know how to run this stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm not an awesome troubleshooter by any stretch. It should work. It says do this.
Yeah.
There's always a reason why it's not working. Me going down rabbit holes to figure that out is not a strong suit. So whenever I've recorded, I want to concentrate on playing. My guy can concentrate on getting good sounds and we're
Gotcha.
done. But yeah, it's been a bane of my existence because I've been asked to do a few sessions and I had to say, will this work?
You have to just Google it, Todd.
Google Perfect Drum Sounds, and there it is.
Now, is it,
Todd, where's the hammer in the studio? You need a good hammer. That fixes everything.
And this one, I normally use the back of the screwdriver for that.
There you go. See, you're all set to go.
There is a
I,
there is a huge
I,
learning
I,
curve with digital
yeah.
audio. I mean, that's for sure. But also,
Yeah.
also become one of my passions over the years. But I've come very close to throwing computers across the room.
No, I don't think like the beginning of SCTV, if you remember that, going to another 70s comedy reference, where they were throwing all the television sets out the window. That's what I imagine I'd be doing with my rig, which is right here.
Yeah. So,
So you'd be throwing drums out the window.
Anything I can grab.
Mark,
I
do you have?
actually did a DVD called "A Day in the Recording Studio" that talks about how I basically, from soup to nuts, from everything from tuning to signal chain to
awesome.
basically inspiring anybody that they can record drums
Yeah.
in any circumstance. And it's about a 2.5-hour video. I did it on my own, and then Hudson ended up distributing it. So maybe take a look at that. That might help you a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll give you the download code. You can do it for free. I'll even send you a signed version.
Why don't you guys just come over and we'll do it?
Sounds good.
Well, I would.
Wait, are we invited also?
I would if I could.
Mhm.
But you know what's interesting though is I just recorded some drum tracks, and I also have an engineering partner. So for the last 2 years, he's been engineering for me. Prior to that, I did my own engineering and played, and that's what the DVD was about. And I went to the studio, and it took me about 5 hours to get up and running with him on the phone asking questions. So it can be very frustrating, even when you have the skill set, even when you've developed it.
Yeah.
It is my preference to have somebody running that so I can focus on the playing.
I mean, just a month ago, I came out here and I wanted to just pull up iTunes, and my engineer did something where I couldn't hear any music, and I had to call him, and he's got 5 kids. And I'm like, hey, do you have a second? Yeah. Like, I just want to play friggin' iTunes, you know.
Yeah. Where do you live?
Hey,
Are you in the East Coast or West Coast or?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
You're in
Van,
Austin. I thought you were in Chicago. That's
Nope.
where you were.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Wow. I've been in Austin so many times speaking. And now I know that you're there, man. I'll call you and we'll do a hang.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
My brother lives there.
Oh, really? Dig that. Okay.
What does your brother do?
He's retired.
Nice.
That's a nice way of saying it's none of your business.
Now,
So very
Van,
simply,
now, Van,
it's easy. He's retired. He's he was a systems coder and he's a little older now, and they're hiring 20-year-olds, and so he's retired.
Cool.
Gotcha.
hey, Van, now you have Livewire Studio, and as I'm looking at Todd, he's got his studio, and I know, Mark, you've been through the studios as well. If you guys were sitting there doing your engineering thing and there's a drummer in front of you, I'm just curious as I listen to you guys and you're hearing the drummer play, if you thought to yourself, wait a minute, this fill would be perfect, but he's not doing it, would you be inclined to come out from the board and say, dude, think about this fill for a second, or will you not say a word?
If I'm hired as a producer, yes. If I'm hired as an engineer, which is, I mean, I could actually do that, and I do it sometimes, then I'm just there to make things sound good. That's usually someone else's job. So, you know what I mean? The last thing, from my experience, if the engineer's hired to be an engineer and there's a producer there and the engineer, too many cooks in the kitchen.
So you'll hold back.
Yeah, unless they ask me my advice,
Cool. Todd?
But I like to switch hats and totally move away from that and just, it's fun for me.
I would echo what Van said completely.
Cool.
And in my situation, because I don't go out as an engineer separately. I have been hired to engineer, but generally I produce, and many times produce young bands with drummers that are up and coming and can use a little learning and improvement. And sometimes the band will want me to play on some of the songs. And what I do is I try to coach and nurture the drummer to be able to play on the songs so I don't have to. I might play on a song or two, but I'd rather spend the time actually encouraging the drummer and giving them suggestions and making them feel like they can do it and helping them get their confidence and helping them get a great take. So it might take longer, but I think in the end, it's a big win for everybody because then the band actually has the drummer and the drummer is there for the learning experience. And the tracks I do play on, the drummer can learn a lot from watching me. So I'm not shy to express my opinion, but I'm very careful about how to do it so it's in a way that everybody feels supportive. I mean, to me, being a good producer is all about communication. It's all about knowing what to say, and it's all about knowing when not to say something, when to lay back and allow things to merely happen.
Amy is a singer, and Todd just took his first foray as a singer. If Van and Mark, you became singers of your own band, and same thing for Todd, what would you look for in the drummer? Because you're now at the front of this, you're now Phil Collins, you're out there. What would you look for in your drummer? Mark, start with you.
The same thing that I try to apply as a drummer, because I learned very early on, because when I was a kid, I was just playing everything I knew all the time. And then I finally was the leader of my own band, and I also was the engineer and producer of all the band demos. And I quickly learned that was the time when I learned, wait a minute, I'm playing way too much and it's getting in the way. When I sat in the producer's seat, I realized there is stuff that's appropriate and there's stuff that is going to get in the way. So I approach everything sort of holistically and from the producer's chair. And that's what I would do. And that's still what I do. And when I think all of us, we all get hired to play on a lot of tracks, and a lot of stuff we do is via the internet. Most of what we do, I would imagine, is via the internet. I would speak for both Van and
right now, all of it for me.
Yeah, basically all of it these days. And so we are hired to support what they do, but not get in the way of what they do. And it's a fine line, because especially I would think, with Todd, or if you're doing something that's a little bit more progressive, maybe a little more fusion-y, but you're still trying to be musical. I think Todd is an example of someone who's a master of that. Like when he played with Styx, he plays this utterly brilliant. He's evolved the parts, but they still support the song as opposed to detract from the song. So there's a fine line between being expressive and being unique and extra creative and just playing all over everybody else.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. And the experience that I just had doing my own record, which was, probably the antithesis of what people would expect from me. There was a few moments that, even though it's all song drumming, there's a few moments I thought, oh, that in my mind, something like that would be cool there, something like that would be cool there. And then when I went to do it, it was not right. I mean, it felt a little bit like trying to jam a square peg in a round hole, and it was best to leave it alone or just do a very simple, obvious open fill and not get too tricky, because it took away from the song. It had, it was really apparent to me that it was a little bit of a spotlight moment here for this in between lines, and it was not cool. So, that was kind of eye-opening when it's your own friggin' record,
Did you produce it yourself, Todd?
I'm sorry?
Did you produce the record yourself?
Myself and a guy named J.K. Harrison.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it was. I haven't never done a solo record, but I'm curious if I'd be good at editing myself. I've been good at that with other people's music, but if I would be able to stand back enough and
you
make
would
musical calls, so I'd still love it like 10, 20 years down the road, because that's always my goal when I'm producing someone else. And I would want it to work for me, but I don't know if I would be able to or not. So
I did it with a guy that I've worked on and off with for years and years, and he's a dear old friend. So we have that relationship, and I could never sing in front of anybody if it wasn't him, because I would suck so bad, and he's good enough to pull good things out of me and make this from being something that I sound like the captain of the football team to this is friggin' real. That's been a partnership.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so it wasn't just me.
I want to hear it, brother. What this is getting very exciting to me. When is it?
We'll get the email. I'll send you WeTransfer files, the whole thing.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic, man. That sounds good. I'm very excited for you and happy for you, because that's also a chance. I believe we should always be evolving and always expanding our horizons. And if Todd Sucherman's going to sing for us, wow, that's cool, man.
Have a cocktail, and then I'll.
It's a little early for a cocktail for me, because I haven't even gone for my run yet. but tonight I will have
It's like
a glass of
7:30 in New
really-
York. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't matter what time it is. Cocktails are good. Now everyone's on lockdown, so it's 24-hour cocktails.
Exactly. Last
Oh,
time I
yeah.
saw Mark, we were having cocktails with
Oh, of course we were, because
the Gretsch people, and
it was the Gretsch people. We're Gretsch folks, and also we kind of look like Van looks like my brother. I think of Van is like my brother from another mother.
we
Hey
go
guys,
back.
I was wondering, do you have, all of you, this question goes to, do you have like that dream gig that you want? Have you already had the dream gig, and if you did, tell us.
The next one.
There you go. That's right, especially during this time.
You
I'm kind of
win,
feeling,
Todd. Correct answer.
you know what? It could be another 6 or 8 months.
Yeah,
It could be.
It could be.
Yeah,
That's the best gig.
that dream gig thing keeps on moving like a carrot in front of me, and I actually like that, because I'm not I'm generally a very happy and inspired person, but I don't really like the word content. You know what I mean? I like to have fire under me arse, and so for me, it's always keeps me striving towards something. I love the people I'm working with now, and I've been fortunate enough to like see guys play that out when I was really young, and then wow, I'm in their band now, and I know that's happened with these guys too, and that's always pretty surreal. So anyway,
Yeah.
so the
I mean,
dream
for
gig
me-
keeps changing for me.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I'm so incredibly proud to be playing with I think the greatest female pop artist on the planet.
Love
I
her.
pinch myself with that gig, because Pink is amazing. But
She is.
you know, man, I'm the biggest Beatles freak ever.
Hmm.
And I got a chance to meet and hang out with McCartney. That was my dream. I met Ringo, but when I met McCartney, I just thought, you know, if Abe was just a little smaller, and I think I could take him, so then I might stand a chance. But that's kind of like my biggest bucket list, because I love pop music and I love the Beatles, and every time I see McCartney, I'm one of those people that's just gushing with tears and
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah.
So that still is the bucket list gig for me, I think. You know.
Yeah.
So Greg
Todd?
Bissonette said you can sit in for me tonight. You're in, right?
Yeah.
Well, playing with Ringo is yet another thing. I mean, that must be absolutely surreal. I mean, Greg and I have talked about that a lot, but that's like absolutely surreal, because you're playing alongside one of your greatest influences and
Yeah.
one of the most profound beings on the planet.
Yes.
You know, there's something about every time I see McCartney, even, you know, at the age that he's at, it just takes me. It transports me
Mhm.
somewhere else. I want to hear Todd's answer.
Me too.
You know, it's hard to top, you know, Beatle music. I mean, you covered McCartney and Ringo there. So sort of I call it a deathbed smile, when you come just this close to something, and you have to be, or you're thrilled that even happened. I guess I was almost in the running for playing with the Who at Live 8 in 2005. So I'm good friends with Roger Daltrey's son-in-law, and he came to see us, and he said, "Hey, the Who, we're playing in London." He said, "Hey, the Who just got asked to play Live 8, but Zach's out with Oasis. He can't do it." And I looked at your schedule, and you're going from Milan to Dallas. And I said, I thought only my friggin' band would book themselves from Milan without taking a week off. Like 2 days later, we're in Dallas. And so I guess he'd gone to Roger, like, I might have a guy, but I couldn't do it.
Gotcha. Oh
But
man.
just knowing that I was peripherally considered to play
Yeah.
with the Who in a way, I'll take it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I will tell you that I was offered to play with Daltrey to do some solo dates.
Oh wow.
It's not the Who, but it was Daltrey, and I was so excited and so bummed that I was gonna miss. There was like one crossover date with Pink, so I couldn't do
Oh,
it.
you couldn't do
Oh,
it.
wow.
And that was a few years ago. It was right in the middle of the kind of the last Pink tour, and that would have been a bucket list thing as well, because there are very few of the original British royalty,
Yeah.
and they are British royalty. But
Mhm.
playing with a Who, yeah, that's yet another another level. We got to share the stage. We did a cancer benefit, and it was Kenny Loggins, Pink, the Foo Fighters, and the Who.
Woo-hoo.
And I got to tell you, me and Grohl were standing on the side of the stage, just ogling and drooling over Zach.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a fun moment too, because all of a sudden you drummers are drummers, man. We're just cool.
Mhm.
We just drummers love to give and love to support.
Yeah.
And man, they were just sensational. And just sharing the stage. It was a teeny stage, and it was someone's backyard for a cancer benefit, like in Pacific Palisades. It was just
Awesome.
one of those moments where you're kind of going, Mike, pinch me. Judd Apatow
Yep.
was like the host, and
Yeah.
wow, it was incredible.
I was fortunate enough to play one song with Deep Purple at Royal Albert Hall with Ian Pace
Oh, dude.
and Ronnie James Dio sharing verses with Ian Gillan and the London Symphony Orchestra. So Steve Morse band got asked to do 3 songs with the London Symphony Orchestra, so we flew there early to rehearse the whole thing, and we did all these rehearsals with London Symphony Orchestra, which is amazing. And then right before they were going on for the encore, Ian said, "We left your drums up there. Come up for Smoke on the Water," And I was like, I don't know if I know that song.
Goes, yeah, right.
But he goes, "Oh, you know it. Come on up." So, and yeah, that was a surreal moment. I mean, you're asking about dream gigs. That was a dream experience for sure.
Yeah.
And then in the dressing room afterwards, Steve Morse said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to a couple friends, George Harrison," and now I was freaking out. And then Jimmy Page was right next to him.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Like tag teaming, I'm like, do you guys, how do you even react to that? So I just started laughing. So anyway.
So guys, right now, everyone, all your fans are watching you, and you're bringing up memories and you're bringing up things you guys are all doing. As of right now, without getting into great detail, does everyone have plans for the rest of the year that we're kind of hoping are going to stay together for tours and what we're going to be doing? Really kind of addressing what your fans are thinking as they watch this. Like, Todd, I'll start with you. The Styx fans are like, "Hey, we got to go see these guys again. What's going on?" And any news or anything anyone can tell us about future plans.
Well, I mean, if this wasn't happening right now, I would have, as of yesterday, been finished recording the new Styx record in Nashville, which is where I was supposed to be. So there was plans for that to be done when it's done. That's always been, the sort of the mantra. It's done when it's done. But I mean, realistically, I think that if we don't do what we're supposed to do, this is going to be a lot longer than anybody wants. So, like, in my opinion, not to stick my toe in this, but like what was going on in Michigan and some things like that, where people want to be out and about. I understand we all want to be out and about, but by doing that, we're just making this longer and longer and more brutal, and we can't do that. So, there is also the health risk of when are people going to want to go into an arena again? Mm-hmm. When are people want to get on an airplane again? When do people want to sit that close to each other again? That has to be considered as well, beyond like, hey, let's all go out and I really can't wait I'm all cooped up.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is going to be significantly longer than anybody would like. So I think that we best all get our minds around that now, start preparing tools to deal with what we have to deal with for our own benefits, our own safety, the safety of our family and our loved ones, and stay in, and we will stand a better chance of this being a shorter time. But other than that, that's what we have to do now. I know that I'm spending some time at the drums. I'm getting back to some basic things and trying to keep myself sharp, and I want to be better whenever I play in front of an audience again than I was the last time. I want to learn how to do Pro Tools. So if we can be proud of how we conducted ourselves personally and professionally during this time. I think that's the goal. Whenever this is over, that's the thing that we should be shooting for.
Well said. Van?
Well, I'm currently working on things for an Enrique Iglesias tour. I'm his band leader / musical director, and share some of those responsibilities with another guy in that band. But I just, I needed to hire 1 or 2 people for this US tour, September, October. We have other dates in May in Russia that just are out, and June and July are probably going to be out. Those are scattered dates around different locations around the world. I really think it's too soon to tell. We just don't know enough information. The numbers haven't gone down. I'm looking at it exactly the way Todd is, and just I don't know what to expect. So I'm it's kind of awkward because I just hired someone. I'm like, well, if the dates happen, it's your gig, and but we don't really know. So I know I just heard on the news yesterday the governor of California saying that they don't expect sporting events.
Yes, he did say that. He did say that through the whole
concerts into like 2021, and that's the Staples Center.
Wow.
That's part of the tour. We're supposed to do 2 nights there, and so anyway, just taking it day by day at this point, and trying to take some positive things about it. I've missed a lot of my kids' lives. My kids are a little bit older than yours. A 15-year-old son who's upstairs, and a 20-year-old daughter, and I've missed a lot of time with them, torn my butt off, and spending time with them and trying to stay positive. My son's 15, so we're learning how to drive a little bit because no cars out there.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I'm trying to focus on things, hey, maybe it's an opportunity to, the last time I really had some downtime, not to paint a dark picture, but after 9/11, that's really when I learned Pro Tools.
Okay, cool. Mark, what can you tell us?
I really learned it to the point of like, okay, now I know it, So I don't aspire to be an engineer, but I don't know, anything like that where I can learn how to cook more, staying healthier, spending more time with my kids and my dog and stuff. But as far as touring goes, it's not going to be our decision either. So just waiting to find out what that information is,
Mark, what can you tell us? What's on your mind?
Well, I have 2 careers. I have my drumming career, and then I have my corporate speaking career, which was really doing very, very well. And I literally had 18 speaking gigs postponed. So that was a bit shocking because this was like what I had worked for. Because Pink is off for the time. We had a 2.5-year run that ended last year. So there was really no plans for touring this year anyway. So timing wise, I think for us, I knew I was going to be off. So I focused more on the speaking. And now I was really resisting because a lot of speakers and people have talked about doing things online. And I resisted it because I play drums when I speak. It's based on the foundation of who I am and top performance and using music as the metaphor and playing drums and demonstrating with drums. So I thought, I could never do this online. And all of a sudden, I just changed my attitude completely. I pre-recorded all the drum parts. I'm setting up everything and learning how to maximize my communication online. I know that a lot of musicians are doing that, to be giving lessons, to be even giving consultations. And, we're not in a position where we can actually play together because there's too much latency online. It'd be cool if we could jam together when we get to that point. But at this point, it's like maximizing what we can do with our businesses online, whether it's drumming, teaching, coaching, speaking, whatever you're doing. Todd's learning Pro Tools. That way you can do more and more sessions. The moment that you can do it yourself and the moment that you are literally self-contained, you are crushing it. And so I am working at getting self-contained to be able to present
awesome
whatever I do. And increase, lessons. I know so many people that have just increased being able to do lessons. And my dear friend Bruce Becker, he's been doing a lot of live lessons and a lot of Skype lessons. Well, now it's all Skype lessons. And I would imagine that, like, if people know Van and Todd are available to teach online, I would imagine that there's going to be so many people that if they know that they have that opportunity to hire you online would jump at the chance to do that. So it's kind of like what we've always had to do. Because for me, it's like when I'm off the road, I'm doing different things. I'm focusing on production. I'm focusing on sessions. I'm focusing on teaching. Then when I get on the road, I'm focusing being on the road. Lately, I'm focusing on my speaking career. So it is evolution. But I think Todd is absolutely right. It's I call it the new frontier. Things are going to change more slowly than I believe people think. And even if the social distancing gets lifted, there's going to be too much liability in having huge concerts.
Yep.
So there will be ways, even if one of the country artists I saw online had his band pre-record the track, and and all the band members showed each other, and he sang the track live sitting on his diving board, with a little microphone, but he was still performing and he still had the band.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of artists may do that. Like Styx, as an example, could perhaps do that. Even Enrique could do that. Have the band pre-record the tracks, everybody with their own studios. And so you're actually still doing actual shows that aren't just solo shows, but the band is there too. It's just the band needs to pre-record. So it's constant reinvention. Anything we can do to reinvent and to stay current and to evolve. It's the way the world of business works in any business. Every business is just like thinking on their toes and thinking what is going to be the next thing. It's trying to anticipate what is going to happen. And this is a very good testing ground for us to see what kind of opportunities we can create.
Topic a little bit here. I'm a singer, and I'm just wondering, have you guys ever dealt with a diva who likes to tell you what to do? I try myself to not be a diva. I actually like to help my drummers pack up their bags. But I'm curious, have you ever dealt with a diva who says, hey, you're playing too fast, you're not keeping time? And if so, how do you handle that kind of stuff?
Yeah, what's that joke? What did the drummer say to the singer? You want me to count this song off a little too slow or a little too fast?
There you go. I've played with a few. Usually the drummers are absolutely wonderful, but I played with a few where I'm like, I can't breathe by the end of the song. I'm like, slow down.
For me, I think it's imperative to, with a vocal group, unless I'm playing with an instrumental group, but to support the singer. And it, I guess, depends what situation you're in, But for me, if I'm playing with a rock star, pop star, there's a certain there's a certain thing about that star quality is something you can't learn in school, and and it's something that everyone's attracted to. So I try to respect that for what it is. I guess there's a lot of different dynamics, but I'm hired, been an MD for a few different things. And I just, so I'm paid to actually, be the buffer in between the band and the singer. So my job in that case, I'm just like, I want to do a great job, but I don't get emotionally involved or lose my stuff. I'm just, let's talk about it, let's figure it out, But in some cases, yeah, there is a little bit of that. There's really none of that with Enrique, really. But I try to respect that their name's on the marquee. They're the one that's out front, really putting that out there, and try to keep that in mind as well, instead of me just getting defensive in those cases. You know what I mean? So,
Todd?
I've been really, really fortunate that I haven't had any problems. I've had a couple of weird things. I have had to tune up an engineer every now and then, a couple of times over the years. I did have, got a half a gin and tonic in me. I'll tell this story publicly.
Raise your right hand, Todd.
I was doing I was in a house band for a Carl Wilson cancer benefit, 2002. And it was a lot of Beach Boy related people. And it was like Skunk Baxter and, great band. And all these different guys came in and they were doing a song. It was for charity. No one's getting paid. And the vibe was great. We played the song. It was a great band. Everything was cool. And Timothy B. Schmidt comes in, him and his musical director, guitarist. And we're doing I Can't Tell You Why.
Song.
And so this is the first time and only time this ever happened to me that someone stopped me on beat 1 of the song. I counted off 1, 2, 3, 4. And he goes, yes. The bass drum does not play on 1 of the first bar, but starts playing on 1 of the second bar. And to his credit, that's true. And I'm like, okay, fine. So we start playing the song, and I think everything's cool. And Timothy's looking at me, going, like easy on the tempo. And his musical director is standing right behind him over his shoulder going, and this was the end of the day. Like, there wasn't the greatest vibe when those two guys came in. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm not going to be like, let's pick on the drummer day. It's 4:45. We'll play the song. And I just said, okay, gentlemen, you're telling me to play it slower. You're telling me to play it faster. Why don't you two guys discuss it? Tell me where you want it to be, and I guarantee you I will put it there and keep it there.
Yeah.
And neither of those guys said another thing to me the whole rest of the day or at the gig. They didn't even come up like, man, that was cool. So yeah, that was my one experience where I'm like, why leave anyone with that taste in their mouth? Life's too short,
Exactly.
And you stuck up. I have lots of stories. I played with a lot of females. I've been incredibly fortunate because playing with Pink and playing with Stevie Nicks and playing with Cher, I never had any issues. But what I did learn is I really need to pay attention. It's paying attention and it's reading very, very closely. Here's one classic example. So on the Cher tour, we were playing with almost all click tracks because there's video and there's lighting cues and there's movies, except the last song, Turn Back Time. So Turn Back Time, she's known for just getting faster and faster, right? So I'd start out with a click, and the click started out at maybe like, I don't know, the original tempo of the song was like 104. We didn't even start it. We started at 120, let's say. I don't remember, it's been a while. But we'd start, and then I turn the click off, and we'd be playing, and I'd be looking at the musical director, Paul Merkovich, buddy of mine, he's the guy that does the voice now. And he'd be looking at me, and we just start speeding up, because I would literally watch her skip, and I could tell how fast she wanted to do it. But the best part about it was, so we probably end up at maybe like 136 by the end, right? And I'm a guy who's a stickler for tempo. I mean, stickler for good tempo. And I'll never forget, we were playing in Germany, and I used to teach at LAMA, LA Music Academy. It's called something else now. One of my German students was there. And he came out, and I saw him afterwards, and I'm looking at him. He's like not talking to me. I said, "So what'd you think, buddy?" He goes, "It was good, but the last song really sped up." And he was all freaked out to tell me. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "But I thought that you always talk about great tempo." I said, "It's okay to speed up or slow down as long as you know that you're speeding up or slowing down." And we were doing what the artist is feeling. So if you're paying attention, you're not going to have any problems. So I haven't had any issues with these ladies. They're all incredibly lovely ladies. And, one of my funniest stories about Stevie Nicks is I got the Stevie Nicks gig, and Waddy Wachtel, love Waddy, character, her musical director says, never play with a click. She doesn't like clicks, So I said, okay. But my thing is I wanted to lock in the tempos. We had 5 weeks of rehearsal. So I would play with clicks on just about every song just to kind of get the tempos memorized and dialed in, right? And so they didn't know. I just wanted to dial them in because I knew that I thought that it would be best to kind of get a place, a reference point. And then if we want to go, we go. So we actually played a few shows, and Waddy was like, well, this song was slow and this song was fast, and I was actually using a click. And then we played the second show. Well, this song was slow and this song was fast. I didn't say anything because it wasn't about ego for me. It's about doing the gig right. And the third show, I said, Waddy, I checked everything with the tempos and everything was down. And he said, oh, really? Well, must be me. Don't worry about it. And he never said a word the rest of the entire tour, because I just knew that I wanted to dial things in.
Yeah.
So sometimes we use our own judgment. I'm not saying that was the good or the bad thing to do, but I do know that because I want the tempos to be, I believe that when you're playing a song, like you guys know, there's a tempo range. If it goes below a certain range or above a certain range, the groove's going to change. And things can slot. I was playing with Foreigner, and we were playing along with something that had keyboard parts and backing vocals. And that was back when Lou Gramm was playing. And I was playing the song, and Lou turns around like, speed up, but I'm playing with a click. So what I did is I jumped on top of the click. I played kind of on top of it. And he looks back at me and goes, yeah. So like I changed the feel, and it made it feel like it was speeding up, the perception of speeding up without even speeding up. And then I pleased him, and he's an awesome guy. So, you learn little things through the years as to how to make things work. And most of it has to do with really listening, really paying attention, and looking at the highest good of all concerned, and not having any ego about it. I think what Todd did was right, because Todd was if you're getting conflicting information directly, you need to speak up. But if there's something that someone's telling you to do, or you're just watching, you take your ego out of it. The way that I look at it is, we are in the service business, everybody. I'm here to be of service to Pink. I'm here to be of service to the band. I'm here to be of service of the audience. I'm the happiest guy on the planet, man. Everybody around me is happy. I'm fine. It's like, you're happy. It's great. It's easy. I don't care. Hell with my ego. Let the E go, as I say, but you stand up for yourself. You don't want to be bullied. That's the thing. I won't let myself be bullied.
If I was in someone's employ and they had any request whatsoever, absolutely. But it was the fact that they were doing it secretly away from each other that was, let's mess with the drummer territory. And I'm like, I'm not having that. That's when, and no one's getting paid, or there's a benefit, so I felt I was able to stand up for myself in that situation, where it's very different when someone's signing a check. Yes, sir. No, sir. Here you go. You want the bottom off? There you go. You got pillow in the bass drum, pillow out.
But even so, wouldn't you have said the same thing? Because if you're getting literally conflicting information, clarity is critical. So if I were in your position, I would have done the same thing. I would have said, hey, I'm getting two messages. I want to please you, but you guys need to figure it out. And
I wouldn't have been so brash about it if it was a situation of being employed. But
right.
It was the spirit of, we're all doing this as a cancer benefit. We're all having a good time. There's one song, if there's a mistake, nobody died. Yeah. Everything's cool. We get out of here.
I can't tell you why.
Fucking fish.
Amy,
have you been rough on any drummers? Have you?
Never. You know what?
I have us any a hard time ever?
I haven't. I have so much respect for what you all do. I really do. So much respect.
Come on, Amy, give us a hard time. Come on.
I wish I could.
You want to do it? Just do it.
Aim, if you were going to give one of these three guys a hard time, who do you think it would be first?
Oh,
I'm putting you on the spot,
question.
Amy.
Nah, this is good.
You have to answer that. Come on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, Bo. I'm gonna go with Mark.
Mark,
And
why you gotta pick on Mark?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why are you picking on Mark?
Well, because Mark,
I'm your agent. Get off his back.
Mark plays with a lot of females, and so he kind of has like what goes on with the female, and that's the reason. He knows what the female mind works like.
But Todd's from Chicago, and so am I. So what about him?
Oh, Todd, I'm giving you a hard time.
He's from Chicago. You don't give, right, Todd? You don't give guys from Chicago hard times.
I'm married to my own female singer. I got enough going on here.
That's right. You know what? I have to tell you, I'm a huge fan of all three of your bands. So it's a very, very difficult time for me to say, oh, it's you, Mark, or it's you, Van. I mean, I love them all. Pink is just, she's just the best. She's amazing. I do a lot of her covers. And Todd,
Wow.
I am a huge Styx fan. And who doesn't love Hero? I mean, seriously. That's how I feel.
Cool.
Hey, not gonna leave
There you
Van off the
go.
hook here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's fair then.
I just
Amy,
need to know
Amy, that was very, very smooth. You're in
diplomatic.
the room. Maybe you should get into politics. You know, that was
No,
Oh,
no,
don't start
no,
that,
thank
Mark.
you.
Come on.
No, no.
But
Don't
Mark,
start that.
I do have a question for Mark. Do you ever
Yes.
do acrobats with Pink?
Do I ever
You-
do acrobats?
you ever get up off the-
I will sometimes watch her, and I will get anxiety. I will get nervous
I
from
know.
watching her, and I need to almost look away. That's literally happened to me on stage, especially when we're at the beginning of the tour when I'm not used to the stuff she's doing. And I think to myself, oh my God, my job, I have the easiest job on the world. I'm just sitting down playing drums. This woman is literally like risking her life.
She's
I mean, I don't know if
amazing.
you saw the AMAs where she did aerial stunt on a 40-story glass building in downtown LA, 200 feet above the
Ugh.
building.
It's like
She
this.
was facing down, just attached with two carabiner clips on this a waist harness, and she was doing aerial stunts off of the side of the building.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, because that's who she is.
Yeah.
She's way braver than me. That's just not my gig. You know, she also married Carrie. Carrie's a badass. He's like, you know, invented the aerial motorcycle tricks. I mean, they're perfect for each other.
They sure
You know?
are.
I'm just
Yes.
not that brave. You know, I'm just
Yeah.
I beat on things.
I'm
for
not
women.
either.
It's easy for me, man. I can sit and just look up, but I have literally like gotten angst from watching some of the stuff she does because she pushes herself and she wants to reinvent herself, and that's part of her brand, and she knows that.
So, Mark, you're not the guy to be the stunt double for Pink?
I'm not. You know, the closest I think any of us ever did is on Justin's birthday, the guitar player. On one of the tours, we had Jimmy, we had a host, and Jimmy would just sit in a diaper and he would float in a harness. Well, Justin got to float in the harness, but none of us have gotten into that 360 thing she does on So What. Her daughter does. Her daughter is a badass. So Willow will get in that. And I've seen Willow go through the thing and do all the flips. I'm like, better you than me, babe. You know?
But I was just about to say that she is such an incredible role model for Willow. She's just, she
Yeah.
really is. She's awesome.
Well, she is, because she's high integrity. What's great about her is she's empathetic, she's smart, she's got grit, and she's got a temper, and she's kind. She's got all of it, you know? And not to mention that if you took all the aerial stuff away and it was just that voice is ridiculous. I mean, I just feel honored to be a part of her world.
So I wanted to ask you guys if you feel uncomfortable, don't answer the question. But other than the three guys that are here, if you had to call somebody tonight, assuming we were touring, you had to call somebody tonight to fill in for you, who would you call?
Whew.
For Enrique, you talking about?
Yeah, for the gig you're on.
I'd call the last guy who subbed for me, who's Zach Alford. He used to be Bowie's drummer. I don't know if you got
Right, that's a badass.
Yeah. So,
Well, I will say, when my daughter was being born, and I thought we were going to tour, and I thought I would miss the birth. It wasn't just up to me because they wanted a high profile guy, but we had Kenny Aronoff in the wings to do it. Kenny's a bud. I mean, I think just because Kenny and I are, we're a little, we play hard and play different things. I would call either of these guys. I'm totally serious, not just because we're on doing this. What are we doing? We're on Zoom, but I think either Van or Todd could come in and just slay that gig. And I called, when I gave up the Cher gig, I was doing Cher and Pink, same management. I was doing both gigs, and I brought in Jason Sutter to do Cher, and I worked with him. I didn't realize I'd been doing that gig for 18 years. There's a lot of complexity to it that even I didn't realize. So I worked with Jason, and he's been slaying it. So they're happy with him. So
there you go.
It's funny you mentioned Kenny, because Kenny did fill in for a couple Styx dates when my daughter was born. a couple. Early. It's a sort of a really long story how it all came to pass, but yeah, I was on the phone with him. He wrote out charts. He did the whole thing, and he was able to come to a show and see it before it happened. So it all worked out. We knew we were going to go in, and this was going to be the date of the
Yeah.
So I would call Kenny just because I know he still has the charts.
And Mark, I did try to get you on. I was also drummer MD for Nana 99 Love Balloon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did call me this stuff, man. I appreciate that.
I what happened there.
99 Luftballons?
Yeah. She's a very big deal in German-speaking countries, Germany, Austria.
That's some good Spanish you got there, Todd.
Ja, vielen Dank.
I saw some spit particles shoot out though. No, anyway, sorry that didn't work out, but yeah.
And thank you, Van. I'm sorry it didn't work out too, but I'm honored that you called me.
I mean, the other thing I really admire about Todd and Mark is how diverse you guys are. I first met Mark, you were playing with Jeff Lorber Fusion, and I was playing with T. Lavitz from the Dixie Dregs in a little place, and Todd, I haven't seen you play with other things, but just your online stuff, I can tell you're just incredibly musical in whatever genre I hear you doing. So that's I don't know a lot of people who do that, like authentically, really, being totally true to the genres,
With traditional grip, nonetheless. Man, I think I'd break my arm if I tried to play traditional grip now.
You have a big callus? Is it huge?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, size matters. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, there you go.
And I've been barely doing nothing here. No, but it's like Steve Smith and Vinnie Colaiuta were like two of my biggest guys in high school. So I tried to model myself to play authentically all different kinds of music, and I groomed myself to be a session drummer when there was the world of sessions that I happened to get into in Chicago, which is why I didn't move to Los Angeles until I was 27 or 28. It was mostly jingles, and I thought, this is great. I'm doing 30 sessions a month. Why would I move out of Chicago to go sit in on Monday nights at the Baked Potato? I'm like, this is killer.
Yeah.
And then that whole side of the business was like the Titanic. I was like,
Yeah. That's why I moved to New York.
Mark, I want to ask you, you played the Baked Potato, right?
Yeah, and I think that Todd's wrong. I would totally have moved to LA just to be able to play the Baked Potato.
And is the Baked Potato bigger or smaller than your living room?
It's about the same. Oh, it's smaller in my living room, definitely.
Todd, it's definitely smaller than your studio, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
It might be smaller than the studio, although I don't have the hallway with the bar to the bathrooms.
Yes, and the illustrious backstage. Van, I assume you have frequented the Baked Potato as well and played there?
Yeah, I'm an East Coast guy, but I've never played there, but I've been there because I work in LA a lot. But I'm sure there's some for the ratio size to room to the amount of talent that's been in there. I'm sure it's breaking some records somewhere.
That is quite a history museum of people to come in there, right, Mark?
But my favorite thing was going to see Abe play there with his 28-inch bass drum.
Yes.
Abe and his dad doing a gig. It was so beautiful. Who else were they playing? I forgot who they were playing with, but I just like Abe had the 18. I mean, the 28, the 15, the 18. And
life is good, right?
But playing beautifully. It just worked.
Greg Matheson and
yes.
Landau.
Landau,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah, it was beautiful. Abe's such a beautiful player, man. It was great.
Well, guys, for me, I just want to say thank you for all three of you coming on, and I think it's terrific that you really are doing this.
Wait,
You're
one more
out
baked
there.
potato story.
Oh, please.
One more baked potato.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Am I supposed to start recording now?
Yeah, it's one. Oh yeah, you should.
Okay.
I played with this band called this fusion band called Fusion Folk. We were doing 2 sets of the baked potato, and my friend challenged me because I had 2 toms and a floor. He challenged me to do the second set and take off my tom, so all I had was the floor, and I did. And it was a fusion gig.
Wow.
Ah.
That's it. That's my story.
Well, Mark, let me ask.
I can't tell you how well I did. I just was like, holy, like everything, because fusions, like all of like, I think I wanted my mama. I think I started sucking my thumb.
Well, Mark, let me ask you a more important question. What is your favorite type of baked potato? Because I know you had one there.
No, I've never had a baked potato there.
You've never had it? Todd, you know how big they are.
Right?
They're like football. They're about the size of footballs.
I had a potato, but I also had about 13 drinks before the potato, so I really don't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, if you have 13 more now, we can hear some more stories. That'd be awesome. But anyways, like I was saying, I want to just thank you guys for coming on. It's terrific. We all miss seeing you play, but you guys hold such an important position, and you're getting some great messages out there. So, from Amy, Duke, and I, thank you so much for coming on and really getting it out
together.
there.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, man. And what a pleasure to hang with you, all of you, and Van and Todd. You guys getting to know each other just brings a tear to my eye. Can't believe it didn't happen sooner.
Yeah, I go way back with Duke, the guy in the upper left.
Duke.
The 90s, 91.
Yeah.
He used to work for LP when they were adding the drum set add-ons.
Oh man!
And I guess I just got the Pete Morse gig.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I actually have a story that Mark told me. I'm sure you don't remember, but you were playing with an artist who I won't mention at the time, and it inspired one of the questions. I asked you about the person you were working with, and they said they gave you a hard time about your tempos, and you said, "Well, I'm playing to a click," and they said, "Well, the voltage is off."
But that was for me or Mark?
Yes.
Mark.
Oh, that was me. That was an artist I worked with in the early days, but I just want to, be the love guy and talk about the good stories. But yeah, that's true. I mean, some artists, it's an interesting point you said, because some people have really, really big egos, and the artist just wants to be right. The artist is so used to being right, and so used to everybody, even management, telling them, you're right, and whatever you want. And so when this particular artist questioned me about my time, and I said I was playing with a click on every song, and the artist actually said, "Oh well, the voltage must have been off." I mean, that's
I don't watch that voltage.
Yeah,
keep an eye on that stuff.
We get an electrician in here. Electrician.
Get the squirrels to run faster. Man. All right. Well, thank you guys. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
We had a lot of fun.
Thanks, everybody. It's our pleasure. And where can we see this thing?
I'll send you a link. We're going to put it online. I'll send you a link.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. All right.
Make sure it has the proper voltage, please.
Yeah, exactly. Because, the voltage online changes, the Wi-Fi voltage and stuff. We could be too.
And next time I'll be cocktail ready with Todd. You guys can drink water, whatever you need to. So.
I'll have a cocktail in your honor tonight. Your honor.
Sounds good.
after the run, get it going.
After the run, yeah.
Party at Todd's at 8:00. All rise.
Yeah, perfect. All right, guys. Mwah. Thank
you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Drummers rule.
Stay healthy, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Please.
So here we are back with Duke and Amy and Cabo. And guys, what are your thoughts? What'd you think? Amy?
Oh, that was so much fun. What a group of exciting, entertaining, interesting guys who they all have a backstory, which is awesome. They're not just, drummers. They've got families. They're great guys.
Duke?
Well, we were fortunate enough to have a one-on-one sit down with Todd. We were fortunate enough to have a one-on-one sit down with Van. I'm very much looking forward to doing the same with Mark. Hopefully that'll happen in the near future. Mark he's a fire plug, man. He's full of energy, man. I don't know if fire plug is the right term, but you know what I mean. And I'll tell you what's really interesting. I was listening to him. He did a little interview on Instagram, and he was talking a bit about his professional speaking, which he talked about. And he's inspiring. He's really inspiring. If you get a chance, if you're, If you are the person in HR who books for your corporate events, I'm serious. Check Mark Schulman out. If you go to markschulman.com, there's stuff all about his presentations and speaking engagements. It's very, very cool. Van, I've known for a while. What did you think of Van, Amy?
Oh, I thought Van was great.
I love his sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. He's sort of dry, but you get it, you know? Yeah, nice guy. Super nice guy.
So what I took out of this, guys, from my point of view, was I appreciate so much having three people that I don't know that in ordinary times we could have gotten that together. Maybe so, I don't know. But I just think having three such talented gentlemen coming from different backgrounds, different styles, playing with different artists, it was just such a pleasure and such a treat to have them there together, to talk with them really about anything we wanted, really to have the opportunity to let them express themselves. So I thought it was a very unique opportunity. I was also impressed very much with their divergence. I love the fact that Todd is singing. I love the fact that Van has his studio and he's progressing himself. I love the fact that Mark Schulman could probably be a speaker if he was never a musician. And I love getting behind the curtain and seeing the dynamic and the depth of these three artists. So I was really thrilled. And I don't know about you guys, but I learned a lot from away from the drums, so to speak. I think as Duke said earlier, Todd's playing and Van's playing and Mark's playing. They kind of speak for themselves. You can see what you see and watch that, but you wonder when you talk to the person, is he conversant? Is he a nice person? Does he do anything else besides play drums? And I think today we got our answer.
You know, it's painfully evident is none of these guys have any ego whatsoever. They're at the top of the game, and they're the most humble people in the world.
Right.
And you know what's amazing, Duke? That's a great point, because I thought the interesting part, it was one of the interesting parts was from the beginning when they talked about, I'd like to see you around. Did I hang with you or did I see you? And I check out your band. Did you check out my album? And it really, obviously, they're at a different level. But I think what Duke says is right. They're ordinary people playing at a different level. And I really like that, Amy. I really like seeing behind the curtain and seeing what these people were like. I
feel the same way. Yep.
Now, Amy, have you had the chance to see any of the three play live? I mentioned at the top. I've seen Todd live. I've not seen Mark and I've not seen Van live, but I have seen Todd live. And I will say, as impressive, Duke, I'll address this to you. As impressive as the videos are, in person, I don't want to say he's better because he's still Todd, but he was impressive, very impressive live. I'll put it that way. Have you guys had a chance to see any of them live?
No, I have not had a chance to see them.
Amy, what the hell are you doing, man? You got to see these people.
I know I do. It's so difficult having a family with 3 young children to actually have that time out, along with the gigging that I have to do myself. But
absolutely,
I have watched them live many times on video.
Yeah.
And they're all amazing.
It's true that there's so many shows. We play so much that there's so many shows throughout the summer. Here where we are in New Jersey, we're playing every weekend, all through the week. So
every day.
The heavy touring season is when we're busy playing. So it's very hard to get to see shows. Yeah.
And you know something? That's a great point, Duke, because Amy, that makes me feel that our time with them was even more special. Because could you imagine if we were around like July 4th and we're trying to get 3 guys who are more than likely going to be on the road and we're out playing and so forth and so on. So that's why I think this was so special. And I'm just so appreciative that we were able to get a chance to talk with them. So I really enjoyed that very much.
I did as well. What I liked, it was hearing about their personal side and just their beliefs and their values. That was very important to me.
And
the human side.
The human side. And Duke, we have to mention it. What are the chances we're ever going to see them where everyone's shut down anyways? And not on a negative light or anything, but what are the chances like they talk about their tour, and I would venture a guess that they're not home much, particularly in the summer. They may not be home at all. What are the
Right.
chances that we would get the three of them together where they're not distracted with, I've got to be here, I've got to play this, I have to do this. So I think, for you and I talking to drummers as well, and for Amy, it was just, again, just such a unique opportunity.
Yeah.
Really was.
So it's terrific. So
Yep.
with that said, folks, Amy, what do we say to the people out there who are watching and supporting us?
Oh, thank you so much for listening and for watching. And hey, check us out on Facebook, on Instagram at The Upbeat Hang.
And
And
Duke,
on YouTube.
and Duke, what can we tell the people? Where can they find us? Amy just mentioned it, but you follow up.
We have YouTube. You can find our videos on YouTube. We're brand new on YouTube, but we're building our library. We have all our podcast episodes are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, all the major podcast platforms. So please subscribe, like, tell your neighbors and all that kind of good stuff.
And folks, listen, continue to share it. As on behalf of Amy and I, we want to give a little golf clap to Duke, our technical Quan who makes all
Round
this
of
possible.
applause.
Well, let's go back to the golf clap, I think. But we want to thank you for that. We want to thank you for watching. We want to thank you for supporting us. Please share it. Please give us some comments. Please let us know what you think. If there's something else you want to watch, let us know that as well. And on behalf of Cabo here, Amy and Duke there, stay safe. Please take care of yourself during this difficult time. We're going to be back. We're all going to be back at some point.
Yep.
And we just had a terrific time today, and we just appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching, and you can catch us down the road.
Thank you.